What profit would there be for one to gain the whole world and forfeit his life or forfeit his soul? What profit would there be? There wouldn't be any. You know, our life is so short, right? And eternity is so long, and we were created, you know, again, going back to the idea, the most fundamental truths of our faith. You know, who made you? God made you. Why did he make you? To know him, to love him, to serve him, to be happy with him for eternity. Why did he make you? To share in his glory. Why did he make you? As an act of sheer generosity, that he would share his greatness, his beauty, his goodness for all eternity with creatures that can relate to him in love. Who made you? God made you. Why did he make you? To know him, to love him, to serve him for all eternity. To know God is to love God. To love God is to serve God. To love and serve God is to want to love and serve our neighbors who were made in the image and likeness of God. Don't tell me you love God who you can't see if you hate your neighbor who you do see. We have to see God in our neighbor, even when we don't necessarily like our neighbors. And this is a great challenge, great challenge. What good would there be to gain the whole world and forfeit your life, your soul? None. So Jesus is challenging us to keep first things first, if you will. And we remember St. Clare today. St. Clare who heard St. Francis preach in Assisi and was moved by his call to radical poverty and a radical detachment, and made up her mind that she was going to follow Christ as Francis did. And so St. Clare, and we have a church in honor of St. Clare right down the road, and the most famous St. Clare of our generation, or certainly the last 50 years, the most famous member of her religious community, which became the Poor Clares, is Mother Angelica. And you think about someone retreating from the world, right? Retreating from the world to spend their life in detachment and prayer and intercession for the world, and you would think, well, they would be obscure, right? But St. Clare is anything but obscure. And I bet I could ask you all how many people here have been to Assisi, and a few hands would go up. And when you went to Assisi, what did you visit? You visited, of course, St. Clare's tomb, and you saw her life and her example. And so, you know, God calls us. God calls us. Let me ask you a question that maybe you've never thought about this question. Who made you? You know, God made you. Why did he make you? You know, there are so many people in the world that are utterly miserable because they can't answer those two questions. They have no idea why they exist or where they're going or what the point is. But we know. We know. And we are grateful for that. And so we take up our cross. We deny ourself, and ourself is our fallen nature. We deny our carnal confusion. We take up our cross and we follow Jesus. And we remember, what profit would there be to gain the whole world? Everything. If you could be the ruler of everything, if you had all the gold and all the diamonds and all the power and all the championships and all of anything you can imagine, all of it, for your whole lifetime, what profit would there be? None. It's not what you were made for. So today, we remember, what profit would there be to gain the whole world but forfeit your life or your soul? None. And we are grateful for St. Clare's example and her intercession, and we seek that detachment from the passing things, that we may love God and love our neighbor and love ourselves.